never loved you.
Thanks for letting me know about this. It really is. It well and truly is. But yeah, I think from now on I'll just play the play and stream the original Xbox 360 Alan Wake. That audio issue never happens with Xbox 360 games. For some reason, I don't know why. And the funny thing is too, Mendes, now, on the Xbox, you don't actually have to load up the Twitch app anymore. You just basically, it's already connected. So basically all I have to do is just start the game up and then press the home button on the Xbox and then go to start live stream now, and then it goes live. It's still happening. Jeez, this is so annoying. I even ended the
Departure by Alan Wake. The man turned to face me. His face was covered in shadows. It was hard to make him out in the darkness of the forest that surrounded us, but the act...
That was very weird why it was happening even after ending the stream and then starting it again and all that type of stuff. It's never done that before. There's times like this too, I wish you could actually go live on Twitch from one source with just your microphone and then go live at the same time with your vision. You know, I wish they really let you do that type of shit. Because then what I could do is I could basically, from one source, stream, you know, the game audio, and then from another source stream the my commentary.
You can't win. You will fail. It's all in your head. You're making this up.
Baby, you were having a bad dream. It was just another nightmare.
No,
Everything's fine. You're home.
it wasn't a dream.
Everything's fine.
Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on!
Shh, baby. The power's out. There's no light. Come back to bed and I'll make you forget all about your fear of the dark.
My fear? It's your fear. Why aren't you afraid? You're not Alice. Turn the lights on now. Where's the clicker? What did you do with it?
Alan, honey, you're still 1 foot in a dream. You're not making any sense. Come back to bed. Alan, you're scaring me now. Come back to bed. Have you taken your pills? Do you want me to call Dr. Hartman? I read your manuscript. It's brilliant. Departure is your best work yet. You're a genius. I'm so proud of you. Come back to bed. We'll talk more about it in the morning. Come back to bed, Alan.
Come back to bed, Tom.
You must find your way to the cabin. It stands in your way. It won't let you pass. It has no heart. It's filled with darkness. You must fill its heart with light. Don't mind him. He's Mr. Your friends will meet him when you're gone. Use the clicker.
Mendez into the void Alan goes. For how short that fight is, it's really cinematic. That and the cutscenes that follow up to the end. It well and truly is. You know, I get why some people might be like, that's a pretty weak boss fight after all that. And I can definitely see that perspective. I'm sort of one of those gamers where I don't have to have a massive boss fight to be satisfied with a villain being defeated. Like, sometimes it's nice to, don't get me wrong. But I don't have to. It's like in Assassin's Creed 3 with the ending to that game. You don't have this big fight scene with Charles Lee, but I feel satisfied because we have that big fight scene with Haytham, you know, and how Charles Lee gets defeated in Assassin's Creed 3. I think it's very cinematic. I think it's very different, and you know, I like that kind of thing. See, I don't mind the boss fight in this being very simple. It's a little bit harder in Nightmare mode as well, but yeah, I actually don't mind that. Thanks for redeeming the random horror movie quote, Mendez. Always fun to redeem this. Yeah, I was actually contemplating whether or not to keep it, because I've dropped the whole horror theme of the channel now, but I decided just to keep it anyway. Because it's a fun redeem. It's always good to have that as an option if people want to use it. Okay, so I've got a random horror movie quote. Why have you disturbed our sleep? Awakened us from our ancient slumber. You will die like the others before you. One by one we will take you. Mendez will know what that's from. I love that possession reveal in that movie. That's probably my favorite one. I think that's the most creepy one, and the delivery on it is the creepiest as well.
I followed the idea of a path.
I'm leaving you.
What?
I'm leaving you, Alan. I met someone. I'm in love with someone else.
Alice? No, what are you saying? You can't...
You don't love me. How could you when you don't even love yourself? All you do is torture yourself with work you can't do anymore.
No, I love you more than anything in the world. You're my muse.
I'm not.
Who are you? What have you done with my Alice?
Alan? What are you doing? Put the light back on! What are you doing, Alan? Stop! Put the light back on!
It wasn't true. Nothing like that had ever happened.
That's it, Mendez. Possess Cheryl from Evil Dead 1. Yeah, I always thought that one was the best possession reveal in the series. Like the one in Evil Dead 2 is pretty cool as well, but for me it's not as creepy as that one from Evil Dead 1.
I had written myself across the ocean.
That's the shoebox that Thomas Zane set up. Diver's Isle.
You're
Bird
not
Lake
my
Cabin.
Barbara.
Tom, let me go. I promise to be good. Please, untie me, you naughty boy. I will help you write your masterpiece. I will love you forever.
No, you're not Barbara Jagger. I made a terrible mistake. I should have never written you back. You came back wrong. Your heart is filled with darkness.
Put that knife away, Thomas! Put it down!
My heart is filled with darkness. I'll cut it out.
Ah!
I'll take you back to the depths you came from. Filled with darkness.
So there's a symbolic reason why the voice of Barbara is Alice and the voice of Thomas Zane is Alan Wake. And it's basically saying that because Barbara was taken over by the Dark Presence, Thomas Zane had to write a way to try and stop that from happening, but he couldn't actually come up with a way that stopped it from happening. So unfortunately, Barbara Jagger was forever taken over by the Dark Presence. He tried to cut her heart out, but that didn't work. It only basically delayed the inevitable. But Alan is in a similar sort of situation with Alice that Thomas Zane was with Barbara, where the Dark Presence is actually taunting Alan with Alice, and Alan is faced with a similar kind of situation here, but obviously he writes things to be very different to what happened. So Alan has to use the clicker inside the body of Barbara Jagger, who is no longer human anymore and can't be saved anymore, in order to defeat the Dark Presence. But he has to write an ending where the Dark Presence is only put back to sleep again. It's not completely eradicated, because that's the whole idea of making things balanced. And so there will also have to be a balance as to making sure that there's always a Lady of the Light versus the Dark Presence. And so the Lady of the Light becomes Rose, and the Dark Presence becomes Agent Nightingale. So that's all part of making things balance. I was talking earlier before how Alan can't just write the end of the story be, the Dark Presence was fully defeated and Alice and I lived happily ever after. It won't work. The Dark Presence would find a way to start interacting, would find a way to mess that up. So he has to come up with a different ending. Mendes, he also reprises those lines when possessed in the game, minus the one by one we will take you. Ash says that instead, all of his versions except Ash vs Evil Dead when he knocks down another survivor. Oh, that's kind of cool that they transplanted it to him. As you said before, Alan Sandweiss came back to reprise her role as Cheryl from Evil Dead 1. Same for Richard DeManicore for Scotty and Betsy Baker for Linda, the latter possessed and serving as announcer for the demon side. That is really cool. It's awesome when that happens. You know, when they have the talent that played those characters in the movie actually, all these years later, play those roles again. But, you know, I know that Ellen Sandweiss actually already, you know, reprised Cheryl because she was in Ash vs Evil Dead, you know. So obviously that's already happened, but still, it's cool when that does happen. I love that dialogue. It's the game's way of letting you know what you need to do, but I also like the actual dialogue and how Alan's voice is changed for those audio bits. Gives me chills. In a good way. Oh, I want to drive home again the idea that Barbara Jagger, if you look at the word Baba Yaga, often a lot of names that start with J in certain places are pronounced with a Y instead. So if you take Jagger and pronounce it Yaga, and take Barbara and take Baba Yaga, it's a nice way that they did that, because you've got the lake called Cauldron Lake, which is fitting because of witches using cauldrons and magic potions, you know, and all that type of stuff. So I think it was cool that they named the character Barbara Jagger to be a stand-in for Baba Yaga.
Let me go!
Alice! Alice! I'm coming!
Your husband refused to do as he was told. All he had to do was write what I wanted him to write. Now it's too late. It's his fault. You'll stay here forever.
Man, it's really cool that they managed to bring them back 41 years after the movie released. And yep, Rod, you know about Cheryl being in Ash vs Evil Dead. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that in case people didn't know. Because I know some people like to chime in and tell you information because you didn't mention it, because they think that you didn't know about it, but you just didn't mention it because you weren't really too worried about mentioning it. I've had that happen before. It's like, here are these characters who have been played by this actor. Oh, but you forgot these 1,500 other characters that they've that they've played. You forgot to mention them. It's like, well, I'd be here for an hour or more mentioning every single role everyone's ever done.
Now you will never get her back.
I am much older than you. Older than your first work of art. I will find a new face to wear. Someone else to dream me free.
This ending's always bittersweet. But,
I could feel Alice's presence close by. I understood what I had to do now. I knew how to write the ending to Departure. There's light and there's darkness. Cause and effect. There's guilt and there's atonement. But the scales always need to balance. Everything has a price. That's where Zane had gone wrong. There's a long journey through the night back into the light.
Alice? Alice? Oh no!
Alan? Alan?
So Alan saved Alice, but the only way he could do it was swapping places with her. So sacrificing his freedom for hers. Which is a good thing, it's not a bad thing. It just goes to show that there had to be balance, like Alan said. And while everyone is okay, Alan had to also write that the Dark Presence was still here. So we have Rose, who becomes the Lady of the Light to replace Cynthia Weather, and Agent Nightingale in the background replaces Barbara Jagger as the face of the Dark Presence.
It's not a lake. It's an ocean.
Alan, wake up.
And there we have it. That is the end of the playthrough for Alan Wake. So moving forward in the future, I won't be playing the remastered version on stream anymore, because the remastered version is the one that has all those audio issues. So the next time I play this game will be before Alan Wake 2 comes out, and I'll be playing the Xbox 360 original on the channel, because I know that version doesn't have the audio issue. No Xbox 360 games do. It's only the Xbox. Some Xbox One games and the majority of Xbox Series S/X games have that issue happening. But I'm going to end the stream now for Alan Wake. I just want to thank everyone for watching. The next stream, I'm probably going to take a 20-minute break, and I'll be back with Control. I don't know whether or not I'm going to play the Xbox Series SX version of that. I'm going to try it to see if there's any audio issues that happen. But at the first sign of audio issues, I'm just going to basically abandon the playthrough on that version and then just jump to the Xbox One version. We'll just see how we go. Mendez and Alan are still down there to this day. He can never escape, and it's not like Jesse can help him or anything. There always needs to be someone to tip the scales and balance the outcomes. Exactly, you know, he's been trying to find ways to get out of the dark place, but still making sure that things go a certain way. And, you know, one of the things that he's tried is coming up with a story like the one in Control, to have a character that has to, you know, take control of a situation and, you know, prevent a great, you know, catastrophe from spilling out, you know, into, you know, everywhere else, you know. But yeah, Alan is still stuck in the dark place. It's been 10 plus years of being stuck there. So we definitely need to get him out of there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Alan Wake 2. We're also getting a Control 2 as well, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen in that sequel as well. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for watching. I'll be back in 20 minutes with Control. GG's, right, I won't be staying for the next stream, but hope you have a good run with Control. Hope it works out this time and there's no audio issues. Take care and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much on the GG's, Mendez, for sure. And that's definitely no worries at all. Thank you so much for being here for this stream, dude. Thank you again for the raid as well. And thank you. You take care as well, Mendez. Definitely see you next time. Want to highly recommend people check out Mendez's channel if you haven't before. He's been doing some Evil Dead, the game. He's been playing that quite a lot lately. Playing through that. That game will also be getting some new content coming soon based on Ash vs Evil Dead. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out Mendez if you haven't before. He's a really cool streamer and he's very good with chat as well. So I highly recommend. And I'll be back in about 15 minutes now with Control.